woke up this morning and I asked, "Good morning, how is everybody doing?" And Bitcoin printed a Morningstar pattern. Hello iedereen and welcome once again to my channel. It's 7:30 p.m. UTC plus 8 and welcome everybody who is watching wherever you are around the world. I hope you had an amazing Saturday, or you're having an amazing Saturday so far. So we're just picking up things where we left off yesterday, because yesterday we had the monthly close, of course, which was on the macro perspective super important. And today we had our traditional markets weekly close. So that basically gave us a lot of information on what mostly will happen to our beloved Bitcoin over the next week. Let's put it like that. And also, of course, what could happen to as in the continuation of the traditional market as well. So let's start with how we always start, and that is, how is the COVID situation in the rest of the world? So let's take a look at our latest numbers. Let's refresh this one. Boom. And where are we? Oh, so yeah, the US has now officially crossed over 1.1 million cases. Both Italy and Spain, of course, are over 200,000. UK at 177,000, and France and Germany around the 160,000 cases. So let's take a look at how it looks on the chart. Let's refresh this one so we get the latest numbers. Boom. So we are at 3,346,000 people. Oh, and our flattening of the curve, sadly enough, is not that flat anymore. We are actually once again having a positive slope once again. So let's see. It's not the fault of the US. The US is actually starting to flatten. Spain actually had a big drop from yesterday. That's a pretty good thing. Italy is still ongoing and going up. UK still ongoing and going up. France is starting to flatten also a little bit, and Germany has a positive slope a little bit once again. So yeah, it still seems that the situation is not really under control. So although some of the countries now are starting next week to loosen up the rules and everything a little bit. So let's see. I hope that we don't get a second wave or something like that, and let's see how the hospitals and everybody is dealing with the situation. I hope that still people will be everybody should be wearing a mask. Everybody should be avoiding keep social distancing and using alcohol or hand sanitizers all the time, or even myself, I'm using UV scanners at home to detox or disinfect everything that I'm purchasing or touching. Definitely cash. So if you have like cash money, as you know, it's very dangerous. If you go to the ATM machine and come back home, you should be disinfecting it, because that cash could have been touched by so many people, of course, right? Anyways, so let's move on. And first of all, I wanted to talk to you guys about some on-chain analytics or on-chain data, which I could find here on the CryptoQuant. It's a platform. It's called cq.live. You can go there yourself. And I just basically wanted to see a little bit more on-chain analysis. Hi, Almeric. Thank you for following and welcome to the channel. So what I'm looking at is basically how much Bitcoin is flowing into the exchanges. So this is the first chart here. This is the amount of Bitcoin that has been flowing in. Hi, Darwi. Thank you for liking the stream and welcome back. And here we can see here during this this uptrend that is since the crash, as you can see, when the crash went down, the amount of Bitcoin that was inflowing into the exchanges was tremendous. Well, the big reason for that is, of course, to try to avoid getting liquidated. A lot of positions were long, of course, and then yeah, they were getting liquidated, and people were trying to hurry to put Bitcoin flowing into the exchanges. And as we can see, after this whole uptrend here, the amount of Bitcoin that has been inflowing has been steadily pretty much stable and moving sideways. Hi Abdul, thank you for following and welcome to the channel. So I think that is quite interesting to see. But right now, as you can see, the price is quite high, and we can see already once again quite a substantial amount of Bitcoin that is flowing into the exchange once again. So let's take a look at the miner flow. I think that's the most important key indicator or key chart that I wanted to show around here. So this is basically the number of addresses of outpool addresses from the miners, from all the mining pools. And you can see that the amount of outflow addresses is, since that the price has dumped, has been increasing. And here, this is the total BTC of miner wallets that are going out. And as you can see here, the amount of outflow from miners is actually quite quite high as well, as you can see, since the drop. Here you can see here it's quite substantial, let's put it like that. And definitely here with our peak that we had, I think was it yesterday? Well, I don't know, yesterday or 2 days ago, we had our peak of like 9,500, and you can clearly see that a lot of miners miner wallets dumped some Bitcoin, basically, right? But the thing that interested me the most was this one, and on the first chart actually, and something that we can see is during the time of January here, January to March, something like that, when the price was quite high actually. From January to March, the amount that went out from the miner's wallet was actually on the very low side, right? So let's take a look once again here, the price here from this one to this one. You can see here the price from the miners was on the low side. So what does that tell me on a macro perspective? On a macro perspective, that basically tells me that since the start of the year, I think that the miners were expecting a very positive trend or a positive price for the halving. So I think that a lot of miners actually held on to their Bitcoin a substantially amount and just basically only sold their Bitcoins to be covering their cost, right? So you always have some cost, but I do think that most of the profits that the miners were holding or keeping, they just kept it, and they didn't sell their Bitcoin just yet. Your nose bleed with the graphs. Yes, Diego, you're welcome. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. Well, you know, just trying to. But I understand if you are just a starting somebody who just started off with Bitcoin, then it can be, you know, a little bit overwhelming with all these numbers and all these colors and all these charts. But once you've done this for like a couple of years, yeah, then things look very, very easy. Hi Nino, thank you for following, and welcome to the channel. So what I'm basically trying to say is we have to be very, very careful if, for example, after the halving, the price does not increase substantially. I do feel that a lot of miners will be panicking at that point and will be selling whatever they have harnessed from January to March in that period, and most likely will be selling, and that could obviously could potentially trigger a massive sell-off and push of the price back down in case in case that that happens. Hi Matthew, thank you for following and welcome to the channel. So I do keep once a while I do keep track of these statistics and on-chain analysis, because I think it's quite interesting to see if price goes up very high, do the miners sell off a lot of their stash, or are they holding on their Bitcoin? And I think that is something that is quite interesting. Hi Odilon, thank you for following and welcome to my channel. So those are basically the two big numbers that I wanted to talk about a little bit and give as information to you guys, and my personal opinion on it. And I do think that a lot of miners will have, and definitely if they have the old equipment, will have some problems with the price if we don't if we get rejected from this point here. Everything becomes positive if price moves over the $10,000, because if you look at the average price for miners and electricity and so on, if we move over $10,000, they'll be fine, right? So they're okay. So if price gets rejected here, and I do feel that we most likely will get some form of rejection here. We'll go over the probabilities and the scenarios a little bit later on the Bitcoin chart. I do feel that we'll get rejection for two reasons. One would be the big mining companies want to, of course, liquidate. It's all competition, right? It's all about competition. Want to liquidate the old mining systems and take more of the market themselves, right? So they kind of most likely want to hold off and make sure that all the old systems are liquidated from the market, and then take that market share themselves. So there is something going on there. That's one thing. And then the second thing is, of course, I do feel that the economy at one point will have some effect on everything that is investment wise as well, right? We already saw some effects of it with the oil price, deflationary effects on the oil price. We're starting to see some deflationary effects on the farming industry, on the farming market, and I do think that it will trickle on the longer this stays in a lockdown phase, and the market's in a lockdown, and the longer that we see negative impact of this economy. But for now, the governments are doing all in their power to be pushing out as much money as possible, and to be making sure that the economy is doing as normally as what is going on right now. Wow, Kushiti. Wow, that's a difficult name. Thank you for following and welcome to my channel. So let's go first into the traditional market, because we had our weekly close. So let's take a look at what happened there. So this is the S&P chart. This is the daily. So we closed the daily yesterday, and the daily close was pretty bad. Hi Odilon. So when we're talking about correlation, it doesn't mean that when stock market goes down, Bitcoin will go down immediately as well, right? Correlation is more in a macro trend, meaning when we are having a macro downtrend, Bitcoin always goes in the same way as well. It doesn't mean that because today price went up $10 and stock market went down $10, that it's not correlated, right? That's basically the difference. So what you have to keep in mind is, when we're talking about correlation, is on the macro level. So when we are seeing a major downtrend on the stock market, we will also see a major downtrend on the crypto market. When we see a major uptrend on the traditional market, we also see a major uptrend on the Bitcoin market. And this this is very clear, right? Look, since the 23rd of March, we have a major uptrend on overall on the traditional market. And if we look at our Bitcoin chart, what do we see? Since March, here we have a major. Since March, we also have a major uptrend on the crypto market. So that is basically what correlation is, right? So it doesn't mean that price stays stable or went up $50 today, and the stock market went down a few points, that it's not correlated anymore. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So let's continue on the weekly close of the traditional stock market. This is S&P, and we can see that the daily actually closed very, very, very badly. Hi David, welcome. The daily close was not as great. We closed actually below the EMA 55, below the green, which makes me think that most likely we will have some more continuation down. So most likely I'm seeing that this will be our first support zone. So most likely in the next, when we open up the market in the next couple of days, most likely we will be seeing a further continuation of a downtrend, most likely towards this yellow line here. That would be my first support line around the 2,788. Just looking at the weekly close, let's take a look at the weekly close. This is the weekly close candle, and as you can see, that's not really a positive candle, right? Hi Shamir. I'm not a billionaire, so sadly enough, I'm not a billionaire. But maybe in the future, we all can dream. We all have our dreams and aspirations. But yeah, so this is our weekly candle, and as you can see, this is a hanging man candle. That is definitely not a good candle, and we also got rejected once again from the EMA 21, from the EMA 55, and also actually already from the EMA 100. Hi Darren, welcome. Hi Leon, good morning to you. Good evening to myself. Hi Sosa, thank you for following and welcome to the channel. So yeah, where was I? So the weekly close on the traditional market was definitely not very good. So what does that mean for me personally? So like Odilon was already saying, we are starting a downtrend on the traditional market, and what most likely will happen is Bitcoin is going to follow as well. But the only thing that you have to be making difference is Bitcoin does not trade during the weekends, right? S&P does not trade during the weekends. So what will happen is during this weekend, it's usually bots and algos that are trading. That's the reason why the volume is very, very low during the weekends, and that's why I have also keep telling people you should most likely not try to be trading during the weekend, because you get like all kinds of fuckery ongoing, because these bots will try to create like, you know, very specific trappy patterns, because the volume is also so low, so they can create these spikes up or the spikes down, or what we call a Darth Maul candle, where both the longs and the shorts get liquidated in one shot. So they push the price up to liquidate all the shorts, and then they push quickly the price down to liquidate all the longs, and price basically stays the same. But people who are over leveraged, they get screwed over, right? So that's how they create liquidity during the weekend. So once again, we have something that looks like a very bad weekly candle for the traditional market. Hi McGrace, thank you for following and welcome to the channel. For the next coming week, right? So this is not a good weekly close, so most likely we will have continuation of a downtrend over the next week, possibly even longer than 1 week, like a couple of weeks. And I do expect this to be testing over the next few weeks here around this line, which is the EMA 200, around the 2,600 2600 and what is 2650 area, something like that. So if I expect that from my S&P chart, traditional market, I do believe that most likely coming down as well in the future, right? So I do believe that Bitcoin is going to be doing the same as well. That's the reason as well that we are analyzing both charts, right? So I've been telling you guys already, this looks to me like a nice rising wedge, and usually rising wedges are breaking down to the downside. Not all the time. We got that with Bitcoin before, right? We got that with Bitcoin before. A retest. It's a retest is it's not in the near future. Let's put it like that, Odilon. Like I said, if you watched my video yesterday, the monthly candle close is actually showing a positive trend for the next month. So I do believe that we will have a pullback, but I don't believe that we will get a lower low anymore. So I do believe that this point here at the 2000, what was it? 2175 is most likely our bottom. That's what I think. Do I believe that we will have a downward movement? Yes. Where would I think that we can possibly pull back over the next couple of months or something like that? Well, I would say somewhere around here, 2,500 ish is most likely where I would be targeting that things to be pulled back down. But you know, it's something that we have to first it will always bounce here at this EMA 200 level. So that's a little bit too long for me to be analyzing it, and besides we keep following this on a daily basis pretty much. So yeah, first spot I would be looking at the bounce, and I'm pretty confident that it would be bouncing from that area. I would definitely be buying or putting myself in a position around that area when we are pushing down. But it's always possible that we go down lower, right? So, but yeah, let's see. Let's take it. And as a trader, you should never be too bullish and also never be too bearish as well, right? So let's see what happens if it gets there, and the probabilities are there. Then of course, yeah, it's always possible. But for now, where I see is most likely next week we will be retesting this yellow line, or the EMA 21 at 2,788. That's basically where I am interested in you know, putting myself in there, right? All right, so that's the traditional market, blah blah blah. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin, where we left things off yesterday, right? So yesterday I told you guys what I'm seeing is most likely we will be pushing up one more leg towards this green box here between 9,155 to 9,300 ish, something like that, something in that green box there. And that's what I'm still expecting actually. But as you know, it's weekend, so things can go quite slowly. It could be today, tomorrow, something like that. But I still do expect us to be pushing towards that green box first before we go down. One of the reasons why I do believe that we are still in an uptrend is the following. So this morning when I woke up, I saw this pattern here. I'll zoom it in a little bit here. This pattern here, this is what we call a Morningstar, which is a reversal pattern. And if you don't know how to spot candle patterns, I can show you this one here. This is the cheat sheet. Every trader should be knowing these patterns. I know it looks like a lot, but after a while you get used to it as well, and you start seeing this pattern very, very, very quickly. So basically we are talking about this pattern right here. This is the Morningstar pattern, right? So we have a downtrend, we get a nice little doji here, and then we have a bullish engulfing candle, and that's what we call a Morningstar. So that is basically what we have. We have a downtrend here, we have a doji star, and we have a bullish engulfing candle. So that's a reversal pattern. So I was pretty confident that we would be pushing up, right? And that's basically what we are doing right now. As you can see, we are forming some sort of like a triangle formation with still making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and still holding our trend line. So I do believe that we will be most likely be pushing up towards that green box over the next couple of days, most likely. Maybe it can even take until Monday or something like that. But eventually, I do see us moving up into that box here. Then start our retracement somewhere start of the next week. And if the stock markets go back down to the area that I'm thinking that it will, we will most likely be going down towards this area, the 8,500 area-ish, a little bit higher actually. It's like 8,550-ish area, something like that. That's what I'm expecting. That is where our S&P is most likely around this area here, around the EMA 21. So when that happens, I do expect Bitcoin to be around that area as well, 8.5K. Then most likely make a bounce, a little bounce, similar what I think will happen to the traditional market, and that would be the daily EMA 200, or this green box right here. Because you can see here the simple daily moving average 200 is at 7,981, and the EMA 200 is at 7,912 at this moment, right? So I do believe that we will most likely hit this box over the next couple of days, then make a first retracement back down, then maybe like make a box right here, and then push and make a retracement all the way down to this green box over the next couple of weeks. That's basically what I am expecting for as in terms of price action, right? But I do believe I am very interested in this area. If we pull back all the way here, this is actually for me an automatic buy. I've explained to you guys before already as well. Whenever we break a very hard, crucial point, like here, right? We broke through it, was crucial. Then when we break back down, usually the first time it will not break, and it will make at least a bounce upwards. So for me, that's an easy long at that position, because I don't think that it will break the first time that it bounces there. At least we'll get a small bounce up. If not, then but yeah, usually it will never break immediately. So we can make some defined low risk profit on that trade right there. Either way, so yeah, what can I say is that, as you can see here, we are forming some sort of a triangle, and like I said, it looks like it wants to be pushing up more. But like I said, this is a weekend. Volume is not going to be that great, so we'll be very slowly, most likely very slowly, and maybe like a small wick up into that green box, and then get pushed down by Monday or something like that, right? So I definitely don't expect like heavy action during the weekend. That's one of the reasons why I'm telling, like, yeah, you should not be trading during the weekend. But other than that, as you can see, price is still above all the moving averages, above the EMA 21, above the every moving average that you can see. So there's no point of being super bearish or anything like that at all, right? As long as we are keeping our price above all these trend lines and all these support lines and moving averages, and we are actually creating more and more bullish crossovers, right? Like you can see here, our yellow line is crossing over the 100. That's the 21 crossing over the 100. So that's very bullish as well. So I do believe that we will have some continuation of our uptrend over the next couple of days or something like that, but not too long. Because like I said, if you look at the traditional market, if you see this happening on the traditional market, yeah, that doesn't bode well for Bitcoin. So I do believe that we will have a pullback. How big? Most likely, like I said, most likely to around the 8.5K area, and then we'll be reanalyzing things. We can bounce back, of course, up here and create some sort of like another triangle or something like that. But I do believe that most likely we'll be ending up into our green box right here, around the 7.9K to 8K level, depending on what the EMA 200 or the moving average 200 will be over the next week, 2 weeks, something like that. I can't really put a timeline on it for now. But yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking will happen. So let's take a look at what's that? Our horizontal volatility percentile. So as you can see here, we've contracted all the way here down. I've told you guys money time that was here on the 28th of April. And as you can see, we broke out of it with super large volume, but the horizontal volatility percentile is still not showing flashes of yellow or green or orange or red just yet, meaning there is still some strength in the market to push this movement a little bit higher. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm expecting that price can, make a little push up higher once again. But we can clearly see that stocks are curling down, which means that momentum is starting to fade down, right? It's not as strong as before as well. Right now, as you can see here, RSI went for a short time below the EMA, but it's trying to curl back up once again. So for me, that also means that most likely we will, make one more little push up and then curl back and down, but most likely we will not be making a higher high anymore or something like that, because there's no momentum, right? So we have two things that are basically showing us that it's getting it's still ongoing, it's still going up, but it's more likely to be just a small push up and not a big push up. So that's what it's telling me, right? Let's go to expected moves charts to see if there's anything interesting there. So the expected moves charts is showing me for the first standard deviations on the upper side is at 9,073. So if we would be pushing up over the next 12 hours, 9,073 would be something that is very acceptable. And then maybe on Sunday, we get another small push up or something like that, right? And the lower end of the first standard deviation is at 8,681. So that would not break our structure at all. If you look at what we're forming right now, this is like basically sideways movement and in a range that we're at, right? So nothing would change if we go back down to around 8.7, but nothing also would change drastically if we would be going to 9,075, right? On a macro perspective, that's what I mean. But yeah, this looks like I said, this looks like a little bull flag, and it looks like we'll most likely be pushing towards a little push towards that green box. If we make a small measured move, we can let's make a measured move here. Wait, take out that magnet so we can make it more properly. And if we break up here from this spot, as you can see, yeah, we would get around that green box, something like that, right? So it makes sense. Hi Leon, what good platform you can recommend for trading crypto in the US besides Coinbase? I don't really give any recommendations on platforms or trading or anything like that. What I do suggest is, take a look around and see what is available for you and where you get a lot of good reviews and a lot of people, because what you want is to have liquidity. So yeah, make sure you find places where there's a lot of people trading. Okay, so that was on the expected move. So basically a range that is what I'm expecting between 9.1 and 8.7k. That's basically what our weekend range will most likely be, but I do believe that we'll get a little spike upwards towards my green box, where hopefully we can fill some position there, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I mean, I'm not really that set on having a position or something like that. Hi, the half masks. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, Kay. I'll try to keep it up. But like I said, my wife is pregnant, so it could happen anytime now. Anytime now. She's 9 months, 39 weeks now, so it's getting very close. So if suddenly I'm running away from the chat or running away from the stream, then you know it's time for me to drive her to the hospital. Hi Mega Man, thank you for following and welcome to the channel as well. So, are we getting a push? Yeah, we're getting a small little push, right? We're getting a small little push. Hi Only Boy, thank you for liking the stream. We're getting a small push, so maybe during the stream we'll see some more action. That would be nice if we would be able to hit that green box. But yeah, like I said, I don't really expect that we'll get like these gigantic moves during the weekend. So things will be very interesting Monday morning. That will be the time when the CME markets opened. That will be very interesting. Hi Luke, thank you for following and welcome to the channel. Let's take a look at the daily. Let's take a look on the daily. Okay, this is the daily. Let's take a look at the Stokes. As you can see here, the Stokes also are curling down on the daily. Once again, that just shows that momentum is weakening. Although we only have like less than 10 days left for the halving, but the momentum is waning. Well, most of the reason for that is of course that the interest in the S&P is waning, right? If we are looking at the horizontal volatility percentile on the daily, we can see that it's starting to become yellow as well already. So once again, that basically tells me that momentum is starting to shift down. Other than that, our SMI, what I've told you guys as well, whenever it starts to have to flash green on the background, that's also when momentum starts to be shifting down as well. So do I believe that we still have some momentum to go up? Sure, but yeah, as you can see here, starting to flash green, and the slope of the chart is starting to go down already. So yeah, I do believe we still have enough momentum to push one more up, but then things might get dicey. And to show you some of the results and how effective this SMI is, you can find this on TradingView, by the way. Just type in SMI and then you will find it as well as an indicator. Well, take a look here. We have here the 13th of March. It flashed red on the bottom. That means a buy signal, of course. It's super low. And if you look, of course, that was our major downtrend here on the 13th of March. So that was literally the bottom. Another indicator, another timeline is, whoa, 1 second. I always keep clicking wrongly. No. Yep. Okay. Here another red flash is on the 2nd of March. So let's take a look what the price was on the 2nd of March. On the 2nd of March. Let's see. It's right here. As you can see, price was 8,400, and we made a nice push up towards 9.2k. So that's pretty good as well. Then of course the opposite, when the green flashes green, here we have here on the 12th of February. So let's take a look what the price was on the 12th of February. 12th of February here, it's right here. Price was 12th February. Here, price was this candle. Price was 10,500. So 10,500, and obviously that was one of the tops, as you can see, right? It went a little bit higher to 10,500-ish, something like that. But then, of course, we got our major crash downwards. So let's take a look. Maybe one more, maybe a little bit more in the past or something like that. Come on. Okay. So let's go maybe more in the past and see if it shows us anything. Here, let's take a look here. That was on the 30 of September. That was a buy signal on the 30th of September. Let's take a look what the price was on the 30th of September. 30th of September. Here, it was right here at 7,700, and then we obviously made a nice push back up towards this area here. 8,800. So yeah, $1,000 move also once again that went to the upside. So as you can see, this this indicator, this SMI indicator is quite effective, right? We can always backtrack and always see what the result was, and so I do put a lot of meaning on this slope and this green flashing background, which means that most likely we will be having a pullback, and we'll see how much we will be pulling back. But as long as that that slope is down, we most likely will be going down a little bit more than in the long term, right? So it doesn't mean that we cannot go up a little bit more at this point in time. Let's take a look. Oh, we're at 8,885. So maybe we'll see something nice happening. Okay, let's go into the 4-hour chart. If we see on the 4-hour something nice there. Oh yeah, what I wanted to see also this morning was actually the following. Let's see if we have some divergences playing out. So I'll put this on the line chart. So do we see some divergences? I don't see any divergences just yet. Maybe on the zoom in a little bit. Oop. Do we see some divergences? Yeah, a little bit, I guess. Price made a higher high, and RSI basically RSI basically went pretty much sideways while price made a higher high. So yeah, there's some bullish divergence here. So basically, this is what happened. The price made higher low, and the RSI made a lower low. So let's take a look. Is there some bullish? Yeah, this one, I think, right? This spot was it from this spot that I was looking. No, this one. Sorry. So it made a higher here, this spot here, and then from this spot, it kind of made sideways. So as you can see here, so there's some small divergence, bullish divergence as well. So it's not that big, but that also basically is what's happening right now, and that's why we are getting a little bullish pop as well. So that also confirmed me this morning that we most likely still have some power to be pushing upwards, right? Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I'll zoom this out, right? But yeah, obviously the analysis from yesterday, we don't have to adjust anything. I still think that we are in the right direction. I still think that we are gonna go a little bit higher over the weekend, and then let's see what happens when the markets open on Monday. I think that will be the most interesting part, because do I believe that we have strength to go to this green box here towards 97, 98K area? Well, you see the momentum is already waning down, so I don't think that we will get there anymore. Do I believe that we will get a small push during this weekend? I do believe so. Some bullish, a little bit of bullish, and then most likely a retracement after. Yeah, I stick to my same analysis from yesterday basically. Maybe take a quick look at ETH, because some people are interested in ETH. Yes, Leon, we are technically still in a downtrend. That's what a lot of people don't understand, right? Here you can see it very clearly here. Oops, move it up. Local high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So yes, Leon, we are since $20,000 when we had our $20,000 top all the way down, we are still in a downtrend. So yeah, that is correct. But we cannot also not neglect the fact that we are starting to see a lot of bullish crosses, right? A lot of bullish crosses, and touching or trying to push and break out of this resistance line. So there is a chance that we are breaking out of this line as well. So if we do something like this and we are holding this area and we're building a good support here, at one point it's going to be breaking up, right? So do I believe that we'll be breaking out from that resistance line immediately? No, I don't think that we will. But do we have a chance to be breaking out of this major resistance and create a higher high? Yeah, of course we can. That would be very bullish, by the way, but we'll see when we get there, right? But we can't be too bearish about, you know, we moved. Look at this, like from this point. We basically recovered everything, right? So we broke down from this point here, basically at 10,500. We broke down, and then we went up to 9,500. That's like almost a 100% correction, recovery, right? So we can't, you can't be bearish on an asset that does a 100% recovery, right? Also, something that is quite interesting is, so for people who have invested into Bitcoin since the beginning of the year, they have the highest, it's the highest return that you could have had in any commodity or anything. So yeah. I hope so, Leon. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I'm very positive. I mean, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm very interested in the market. Do I believe that we are going to go to the moon immediately? No, most likely not. But yeah, eventually, I do believe that there is a lot of like, what do you say it? A lot of probability, high probability that Bitcoin is going to be going to do something very good. Yeah, I know, but there's so many theories and this and that. Anyways, oh, I think that we're having some movement. We did a little bit a push up. Where are we now? We're at 8,929. As you can see, this is an uptrend, right? So yeah, I do believe that slowly but steady we'll be touching that green box most likely. That's what I'm still expecting. But like I said, we're analyzing this on a daily basis pretty much. So we'll see if we get there and if we need to adjust on anything. So let's take a look at ETH. ETH, as you can see, for ETH we are still in our rising wedge. So although we hit we broke out of this very high, very big resistance line, the 217. In one of my videos, I don't remember, a couple of days ago, I told you guys about this resistance at this 217. If we actually start closing above this 217 line, I do expect us to go all the way up to like 200 and this line here, 245. So that would be definitely my position if Bitcoin managed to break out of the channel. Then ETH will most likely be going to 245, something like that. So yeah, that would be a nice push as well. But for now, I think we will have once again a retracement as well over the next weeks. We printed if you know TD sequentials, we printed a 9. Do I believe that we still have some power to go up? Yes, similar like in Bitcoin, we most likely will be testing the 216, 215, 216, something like that over there, 217 maybe even, and then get rejected from there. And then first support line would be around our 200 line. 200, most likely we'll go back to our previous support. That is when Bitcoin would be going Bitcoin will be going to around the 8K level. Trent, where do I speculate BTC by the end of the year? Okay, well, first of all, I'm a day trader, right? So I try to, keep keep my perspective as in like, you know, on a daily basis or on, you know, the movements. But it will all depend on a couple of crucial things. So there's quite a lot of macro movements that I've been speculating or that I've been taking a look at. I can do it quite quickly. So my highest probability is still this, that we are actually forming some sort of a huge triangle here, right? So if we do something like this, if this was our A, B, C, D, then this would be our E, something around here, most likely. Then if this happens, then by the end of the month, by the end of the year, we could, you know, reach our previous all-time high again. That would be very bullish, obviously. That's a probability that I'm seeing. It all depends on, like I said, how far we get rejected from this point. But if we get rejected from this point, this 7.7 what's that, 7,500 area, if we break that area, then it's not an ABC anymore. Then it would be actually be a falling channel, right? So then it would be something like this, where we form this type of channel, we break up, and then we break back down here, then we break up here, and then maybe we'll break up from here, but I don't think so, and then we fall back down one more time, and then we'll break up here, something like that. And then only in 2021 do I see Bitcoin being successful, and we will be retesting the 3K area, something like that. That's a second very high probability that I'm seeing. A third probability that I'm seeing in a macro is we can look at this as like a broadening wedge, right? Falling broadening wedge. Then we would be seeing something like this. And then we would be reaching somewhere like 4K, something like that, 4K level. So overall, you know, I do believe that we will have a pullback. How far are we going to be pulling back? That's basically the question. I do believe that in 2021 we'll see a major catalyst in the Bitcoin price, right? So for me, it's more like try to accumulate as much as possible, as cheap as possible this year, and I think reap the rewards somewhere end of next year or something like that. That's just my trader's perspective. A lot of people will be thinking in the long run, and will be thinking, you know, 300K, 200K or something like that. But you know, I guess I'm too impatient. Well, I just want to, you know, I just want to make sure to cash in profits, because I don't understand how some traders or some people are just thinking, I'm just gonna hold until the end of my life. I'm just gonna keep holding. I mean, what are you gonna do when you're holding? You're not really taking profits. You're not doing anything with your Bitcoin, right? Kind of makes no sense. That's just my own perspective, right? This is just my own personal opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not a financial advice. So whatever you do with your own money is your own responsibility. But yeah, there's a couple of things that can happen over the next couple of months that will basically, for me, decide what my end target would be. For now, I can't really say, like, you know, end of the year is gonna be, you know, quite good. All I'm thinking about is like, okay, if it pulls back to like 3K, 4K level, yeah, should just buy a little bit more. I managed to get some Bitcoin at 4.1K at the last crash, and yeah, that's some of the Bitcoins that I'm quite happy with, right? I mean, those are the ones that I'm saying like, okay, I'll be holding that for a little bit longer, and with long, I'm talking about like next year. not like people who are saying I'm holding that for 5 or 10 years or something like that. Hi, MJ De Luna. You are from the Philippines, and for beginners, well, How I started was by watching other traders or reading books and watching other channels. Let's put it like that. There are so many channels on YouTube, on Facebook that are giving a lot of information for beginners. That's where I would be starting off with. Sadly enough, well, maybe not sadly, but this is not a channel for beginners. This is just basically a sort of a diary that I'm doing for fun for myself, to keep track of the things that I'm doing and to see if it makes sense. Because when you're actually discussing or talking about it, you kind of feel immediately if it makes sense or doesn't make sense, right? And I just feel that it helps me with my own personal trading as well, when I'm like trying to explain something or trying to look up something, that kind of stuff. That's cool. Yeah. There's a lot of Leon. There's a lot of very, very talented people and very talented traders around the world. It's just a matter of like if you're happy with what you're doing, right? If you're making sufficient amount of money for yourself, if your happiness is basically what is the most important. Like I said, for some people that is to become a billionaire. If that makes you happy, great. For some people, it's just to be making enough for being a trader as a making as a living. That makes people happy. That's good as well, right? That's very personal for every person. As long as you are happy and make some money while trading, I think that's perfect, right? So, do I have something else to say before we close this? Nope, I don't think. 280, something else. Was there something else that I wanted to go over with you guys? Dixie. Let's take a look at Dixie. Huh. Dixie is actually moving quite down quite a lot, so that does mean that most likely we'll be hitting this point here, this red line here, or the EMA 200 once again. That's interesting. That means that the value of the dollar is going down once again. We had actually a nice push here after the market crash. People liquidated all their stocks into the dollar actually, and that's why we had this major spike here. But this means, because the dollar is going down, this means that that's actually in a downtrend right now. So people are actually investing more. Yeah, I do believe that we will have a currency issue in the future. Yeah, I agree with you, Leon, but I don't think that it's for now. I mean, a lot of people, and I see that everywhere almost. Yeah, we're gonna have hyperinflation. Yeah, the economy is gonna crash. It doesn't work like that, right? It takes a lot of time before something like that is going to happen. There's a lot of powerful people in the world who will try to keep their own position of power, right? There's a reason why they're pumping $7 trillion into the economy right now, because they want to make sure that we once again survive another cycle. Do I believe that we are going to keep surviving every cycle? No, I at one point, it's going to crash. At one point it's going to crash. Will it happen now? I doubt it. I truly doubt it. And also, first we have to see some major deflation. Although we saw that already in with the oil crash, but we need to see some more major deflation where I can think like, okay, well, this has a possibility that we are going to be crashing in the nearer future, maybe in like 4 to 5 years or something like that. Sure, but I don't think it's for this cycle just yet. But once again, that's my personal opinion. But yeah, I hope that Bitcoin will survive when when we are going to go through a major crash. That will be interesting. Anyways, I still am very, very happy with this short position. That was an amazing short position right there at that point there. As you can see, we are here in the Bitcoin halving. It's going to happen very, very soon. And I know that everybody is very, very enthusiastic about this halving. If you've seen my explanation on the differences between the halvings, the Bitcoin halvings, yeah, just look for the video with the Bitcoin halvings. You will see that this actually, the comparison between the S&P chart and the Bitcoin chart, and when the halvings happened. As you can see here, the macro trends, once again, the macro trends and the correlation between Bitcoin and the stock market is insane. As you can see, right, we have a positive accumulation phase here, and we have a positive accumulation phase here in Bitcoin. We have a positive accumulation phase here on the stock market, and you have a positive accumulation phase here in the Bitcoin. We have a major downtrend before the third halving. We have a major downtrend on the third halving on Bitcoin as well. So, well, before the halving, we actually always have a downtrend first before the halving. If you don't believe me, then just take a look at the halving. We always get a push and then a downtrend. That's basically what I'm saying. You can see here. So we have a push up. Then before the halving, it dips down, as you can see. We have a push up, and then we have a push down halving. And I expect pretty much the same thing. We're gonna have a push up and then most likely a retracement down. And like I said, the big difference here is over here we had a bullish accumulation. We had here a bullish accumulation, and volume spiked up, and that's why we had continuation pattern, and we had a very strong distribution. Once again, volume spiked up, positive distribution. But now we have bearish accumulation in this phase. This is bearish accumulation. So, it's a very big difference. Is this it? Is this where we need to go through another accumulation phase before we push up? It's very, very possible. So there's just a lot of major differences. Let's put it like that, between the two previous halvings and the halving right now. So to be able to predict where Bitcoin is gonna go after the halving, it's basically a guess, because nobody knows, because it hasn't happened before like this, right? So if something hasn't happened before, there's no crystal ball that can tell you like, okay, this is what is going to happen. But of course, there are probabilities, right? You can always have probabilities that most likely something like this is going to happen. I do think that we will most likely go a lot more sideways than people think, because I think a lot of people will be thinking like we're gonna do exactly the same thing, and Bitcoin is going from after the halving going towards this 40K or something like that, very similar what happened in the past. That's something that I don't think is going to happen. I think really we're gonna retrace back down and then go sideways for a pretty long time, and accumulate once again before we make another move upwards. And like I said, for me, I think next year, 2021, is most likely going to be a key year for Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to be this year. So that's my personal opinion once again. But we'll see. I mean, like I said, this market is so insane, and it can change all the time, right? So it's a crazy market, and I know a lot of people just think about, and that's a good mindset. As an investor, you should be thinking about long term. But I'm a trader, so I kind of want to make profits, because I got bills to pay. I got bills to pay. Anyways. It was really a pleasure, a pleasure to spend some time with you guys here tonight. And I hope to see you once again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. UTC plus 8. So I don't know what time that is in your zone, but click like or follow on Facebook or on YouTube, and you should be getting a signal whenever I go live. And I hope to see you again tomorrow, right? Thanks, Darren. And I know you've been watching almost every day, Darren. So yeah, amazing. That's some dedication right there. Hi, Idama. Thank you for following me on the in the last minute. But please do like, share, comment, whatever. What you want to do, so we can always, like I said, I'm just here doing my thing. If you have any questions, you can just always ask them. You can post comments if there is time, or if there's anything, I can go over it on the next episodes or the next shows. I don't have absolutely no problem with that at all. But I don't want to be getting 700 altcoins that people want me to analyze. Once again, I'm not an altcoin lover or anything like that, and you shouldn't be as well. If you are a good investor, you should be, of course, diversifying your portfolio, but altcoins should be a very small amount only from your portfolio. Okay, very high risk. So yeah. I don't want to be going over 700 altcoins from people who are stuck in their position. Oh my God, I have this token, I have XRP, I have Cardano, I have... Okay. Anyways, until tomorrow, please stay home, please stay safe, and of course, please stay COVID free.